Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
The Flyers are playing good hockey. They're playing great hockey right now. As they go into Toronto, they snag 2 points after winning in a shootout, and they get revenge because just a couple games ago, the Maple Leafs came into Philadelphia, won this ugly shootout, and the Flyers made my eyes bleed watching that shootout, and they get revenge by putting it together, by scoring in the shootout. Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier coming up clutch. It was a great win. This was a brutal back-to-back situation on the schedule. For the first game to already be a victory, you can take a couple deep breaths and assess Boston with an easier mindset. Before we dive into this game, use the promo code BROADS for $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase when you are buying tickets. So make sure you save some money, you go to a game. It's a no-brainer. The Flyers have been fantastic on home ice. They haven't been great on the road. That's why this win is so impressive and so solid. They needed to find some sort of energy on the road. They had to put a great game together on the road eventually, and they finally did that. Not everyone. Ivan Provorov. Whoa. Did Ivan Provorov have a bad hockey game? And I mean bad. The Flyers are now 9-5-2. I can't believe it. I'm stunned when I see that. It just sucks that the Washington Capitals are beasts right now. The New York Islanders put together this massive win streak. So as we speak right now, the Flyers are at the top of the wild card position in the Eastern Conference. There's so much hockey to play. What does that really mean? You know, it doesn't mean anything crazy right now, but they're at the top of the wild card list. This game was a battle between the netminders. Brian Elliott got the nod in between the pipes, and I was curious who was going to start. Would it be Carter Hart because he's coming off of a couple wins? Would it be Brian Elliott because he was the one in between the pipes last time Toronto played, and maybe you want to get him another look and get him another start so he doesn't lose the mojo that he had? Brian Elliott gets the nod, and he was spectacular. 38 saves on 40 shots. He pretty much, I wouldn't say steal. You know, he didn't steal the game for the Flyers because I thought the Flyers played well. And you know, I wouldn't go to the extent of saying the Flyers stole one. But he was a key piece to success. Without him, I don't know if it would have been 2 points for the Flyers. But it was a netminder duel. Andersen on the other side, he was remarkable. Both goaltenders were great. And that's what made it such an entertaining game. This was a very fun game to watch. Action on both sides. One team dominates for 8 minutes, then the other team dominates for 10, 15 minutes. I mean, it was just back and forth action and really solid puck movement and great hockey. Very entertaining. It was a hostile environment for the Fly guys. You know, you got to go into Toronto, and ironically enough, I've been on this kick of listening to Toronto sports radio once in a while. When I say that, I mean I listen to sports radio 24/7, so multiple times a week is once in a while for me. And it's so funny how they love the Maple Leafs. We love the Eagles here in Philadelphia. We love the Sixers, like at an all-time high. I hear them breaking down healthy scratches, Mike Babcock's decision in practices, the lineup in practice, and who's practicing with who. It's nuts. It's awesome to hear because it's a change of pace, and it's cool to hear how much they are diehards for hockey, and I am too, but they take it to an extreme. I love listening to how they react after Flyers games specifically, so I'll definitely be tuning in on Monday's show to hear them talk about this game. They also have a back-to-back as well, actually, so they'll break down both. But it's just so funny how the Toronto Maple Leaf media handles this squad, and it's a hostile environment going into that barn and grabbing 2 points away. It really is. So to start this off, first period, Phil Myers, of all people, he gets a nice opportunity as he is the third man in on a nice little rush. He rips it past Freddie Andersen. JVR and Joel Farabee get assists. Joel Farabee making an impact on this team. There's just no denying that. So the Flyers are up 1-0 in the first period. And then on the power play, Oskar Lindblom with this filthy, and I mean disgusting tip off the side of the net on the power play. It was gross. The assists come from Ghost and Travis Konechny, but he just squeaks it by at this insane angle to take a 2-0 lead. I was very impressed with the first period, but the second period, it was all Maple Leafs. Like, the Maple Leafs completely dominated the pace and had so many great scoring chances. They did score on one. Ivan Provorov takes a weird chance in the neutral zone. It leaves the Maple Leafs with this really good chance coming into the zone, and Dermott ends up with a wrister in the slot area, puts it right past Brian Elliott. 2-1 lead for the Flyers, but Toronto cuts into that. Auston Matthews gets a point. Auston Matthews is gross. I love watching that kid play. His hands are filthy. His shot is unbelievable. Auston Matthews is one of my favorite players to watch in this league, and ironically enough, he comes up in the third period as well with this pass behind the net where he fakes the Michigan move as if he's going to put it on his toe and try and, like, lacrosse style goal it over Brian Elliott's shoulder, but instead he doesn't and passes it through the blue paint. What a pass. Only great minds, only guys with sick hockey IQ make a play like that. And Toronto ties it up 2-2. The pace was all in Toronto's favor at points. It got nerve-wracking as a Flyers fan. I didn't think we were going to pull out with the W, considering we were up 2-0, and you have that team at home find a way to create some spark in that building. The fans started to get really hype and really loud as they tied the game. Moore hit the iron with 3 minutes left in the third period, but it got to overtime. And in overtime, the Leafs pumped the Flyers with shots, but the Flyers still had a couple good chances. Kevin Hayes came down the wall, cranked one off the pipe. Then on the same exact play, he puts a pass right on Ivan Provorov's stick. What does he do? He misses it. He made the right move. The puck hopped over his stick, just not that night for Provorov. I'm telling you, he was horrendous. There was a play where he was behind the net in the D zone. He tries to make a little pass, a little backhand pass to Jake Voracek right by the side of the net. It goes into the middle of the ice. Like, Ivan Provorov was making a lot of mistakes out there, and he hasn't been. It's not like Provorov has had a bad season. Last year was really bad. He stepped up and definitely has been way better so far this season, but this reminded me a little bit of last year. He was taking chances at the wrong times, and then he was trying to make up for those mistakes and put his team in even a worse position. Just tough all around for Ivan Provorov. So, anyway, overtime. Brian Elliott comes up big. Andersen comes up big. These goalies were dueling left and right, and then it comes down to the shootout. Travis Konechny doesn't score. He's frustrated. Claude Giroux comes in, just rips a clap bomb. Like, the guy just comes in and rips a clap bomb. Who's your daddy? What's he do? Blistering clap bomb. And he puts it past Andersen for a 1-0 lead. Brian Elliott allows a goal to Nylander. Sean Couturier, with silky mittens, responds to win the game. This Flyers team is hot right now. They're putting together wins. They are getting away from 500 hockey. Now, one thing that did help the Flyers, and I would never want this ever to happen, but Mitch Marner went down. And he was in pain, and he went into the locker room. Like, he missed significant amount of time in this game, and ultimately that gave the Flyers an advantage, because when he's not on the ice, it helps the Flyers, considering he is such a lethal weapon, but I would never want to see him get hurt. I find myself watching the Toronto Maple Leafs because I have NHL Game Center. I find myself watching the Maple Leafs so much when the Flyers aren't on, because I just find them so entertaining. Mitch Marner, Nylander, Kapanen, you have John Tavares, who we held pointless, by the way. Andersen's fun to watch between the pipes when he's on his game. Their team is nuts. They're fast, they're young. And once again, because I listen to so much Toronto sports radio and because I know the hype behind their team and it's Stanley Cup or bust and I know the woes they've had in the playoffs against the Boston Bruins, I understand their story. I'm a little bit involved in their story as a fan of the sport of hockey. So it's just crazy. I do love watching their team. But I love when the Flyers get the victory more. That's what I like. And now you head into Boston. One thing that was impressive for the Flyers, a couple things that I stated, of course, but one that stood out to me was the fourth line play. Both teams were throwing out their fourth lines because it's a back-to-back for both squads, so you don't want to tire out your top guns. I thought the fourth line did a good job. We even have a new guy in the mix, Andy. I thought he did well. Raffle. Raffle is this guy who Alain Vigneault can just trust because he's a veteran. He doesn't have to play 20 minutes a night, but you can just trust him out there because he knows what to do. He knows not to get scored on. He does the little things right. He's a player that gets so unnoticed, big picture-wise in the NHL, but he's a role player that is so good at his role, which is a minor role, but he does it so well, and that's insanely important. Boston next. That team is good. And you're going into that building. Talk about a hostile environment. But it's a little bit easier to go into their building, one, having confidence because you put together some good wins and grabbing points. But two, knowing on this back-to-back, you already have a win. Going into this, I wanted at least a 1-1 record. So if we go 1-0-1, that's great. If we go 2-0, that's unreal. If we go 1-1, I'm satisfied because I understand the circumstances. So getting that out of the way, it's just easier to go in there and to attack the game for what it is. It seems like Alain Vigneault is starting to get his message across. People are buying in. The team is playing great. Now, the young guns are stepping up. Travis Konecny, Oskar Lindblom. I would have never imagined Oskar Lindblom having the type of season he is. He's continuing to put the puck in the net. Guys like Claude Giroux, I know he scored in the shootout, but overall, he hasn't been scoring and producing an insane amount. Voracek, same thing. Kevin Hayes, I would even argue, although he adds that 200-foot game. And he adds the depth at the center position that we needed to add. Of course, the Nolan Patrick injury totally hurts that, but, it's just the younger guns stepping up. Joel Farabee, Oskar Lindblom, Travis Konecny, some of the defensemen, Phil Myers. It's crazy. They're the ones that are sparking the club. But hey, it's the future of the squad. I'm not mad about it. Not mad about it at all. So let me know your thoughts down below on this victory by the Philadelphia Flyers. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to say I'm surprised. But I'm intrigued. I think intrigued is the best way to describe this. I'm intrigued because the style of play they're playing with, I mentioned Alain Vigneault's system, it's starting to really work and you can start seeing the effects. They're gaining the confidence. They understand that they can go into buildings and win games. They have structure defensively. I know Ivan Provorov had a tough night tonight, but overall, throughout this season so far, the team is structured in the D zone. They're getting these opportunities offensively. They're scoring goals, and they've dominated scoring goals at home. They need to find ways to consistently have this type of performance on the road, but I think that will absolutely come. They're going to find rhythm. They're going to gain confidence once they realize they can do it. Once they see, oh, wow, did you see what we did in Toronto? We can do that in any building. If you're going into that arena, that toxic place, and you're putting on a performance like that, a gritty win, I hate to use that word when describing anything Flyers hockey, but when you get a gritty win in that building, you can go into any other building and put together the same game plan, and if you execute it, you should come out with points as well. I'm not going to lie to you, though. When it came to the shootout, was I nervous? Yeah, a little bit, because maybe the mental side came into play. Oh, last time we played this team, it got ugly. It was bad. Hopefully it's not that way again. Nope. Not 11 rounds. No. This bad boy was done early. Brian Elliott stood on his head and totally helped this squad. Andersen stood on his head and helped this squad get a point as well. But I think as the city of Toronto sees this game play out, their biggest concern right now is, whoa, what's going to happen to Mitch Marner? We paid this guy a lot of money. I saw that he wasn't even traveling with the team to the next game. So he's a big piece. He's a big piece of this squad. They lost John Tavares early in the season, remember? He had the injury to the hand. He finally returns. Now Mitch Marner ends up getting banged up. It's a shame because he's one hell of a player. All right, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.